This is a demonstration of working with pivot field items using the pivot table control center. To demonstrate, I will select the region field and then check it to add it to the pivot table row area. Notice that it is sorted in ascending order by region. To work with pivot field items, you select the field and then click the Show Hide Move Items drop-down. Here you have a list of all the field items with those that are visible displayed with the checkbox. If you want to make an item invisible, you just unselect the checkbox, and now missing has been removed from the pivot table. Select it again and missing has been added. If you want to reorder the items that is not in a normal sort order, you can select the field. Like, let's say you wanted to have north and make that first. You select it and use the arrow buttons to move it into the first position. Then I will select south and use the arrow buttons to move that in the pivot table into the second position. I will then select west and move that into the third position. I will then uncheck missing because we do not want to see missing. Then I will click on overhead and then click again to enable editing, and I will rename that OH, for example. And now that item has been renamed in the pivot table. I will then select the All button to show all fields. One other thing that you can do in working with pivot items is you can double click on a field item to move the field into the page area and select that item as the current page. Here I will double click on north and notice that region has been added into the page area of the pivot table with north selected. I could then double click on south and double click on west to change the current page. I could also double click on all to change the current page also. Another thing that is somewhat helpful here, and we'll demonstrate with another field with more items, I will choose here our report product, and then I will click the drop down box, and here we have a list of all report products. Sometimes you may have a situation where you know the totals are off and you can't remember if you have possibly hid something. So you have report product in there and you know that something isn't right. You know you hid some items but you can't find them. So I will select the drop down here, give it a second to examine the pivot table and find all the items, and then I will click the Show Hidden Items Only box. It will recalculate, search through all the fields and find those that have been hidden. Here it finds the 3 items that we had hidden, and we can check those 3 items and notice that they then appear in the pivot table. And then I can click OK. That is an example of how to work with pivot field items using the pivot table control center.